There's been more talk about the Las Vegas Raiders and their search for a quarterback. After hiring Pete Carroll, rumors started swirling about him possibly reuniting with his former quarterback Russell Wilson from their time with the Seattle Seahawks. At first, this was just speculation, but now NFL insider Ian Rappaport has weighed in. Here's what he said. Pete Carroll is facing a big decision at quarterback, as the Raiders still need one. Keep an eye on this. One of his good friends is Russell Wilson. My understanding is that Russell wanted to play for the Raiders last year, but it didn't happen. So, this could be discussed again. This statement from Ian Rappaport adds more weight to the idea that Russell Wilson could be joining the Raiders. It's interesting that he mentioned Wilson wanted to come to the Raiders last year, but it just didn't work out. Over the years, there's been a lot of speculation about Wilson possibly being traded, with the Raiders always being mentioned as a potential destination. Now that Pete Carroll is in charge, the idea of Wilson joining the team seems more possible than ever. They have a close relationship, which only strengthens the connection. I talked about this topic in my last video, and one thing that concerned me was the situation between Wilson and Carroll when Wilson was traded to the Denver Broncos. There was a lot of talk about a possible feud between him, Carroll, and Seattle's general manager John Schneider. But now, it seems like that story might have been blown out of proportion, or maybe Wilson and Carroll have repaired their relationship since they parted ways. As Ian Rappaport pointed out, they're still close friends. Personally, I'm not sure how excited I am about this. Yes, Carroll and Wilson had success together, but that was over a decade ago when they won a Super Bowl and made it to back-to-back Super Bowls. 10 years is a long time in the NFL, and it's fair to say both Carroll and Wilson might not be in their prime anymore. I don't know if this would make the Raiders a true AFC contender. At this point, Wilson could be a short-term option for the Raiders, more as a bridge quarterback. He could start for a year or two while the team develops a young quarterback through the draft. This could be a good plan for the Raiders moving forward, but what will Wilson's market be like? Last season would have been a better time for the Raiders to make a move. If the Raiders wanted to go with the Russell Wilson option, they could have signed him to a veteran minimum contract, with the Denver Broncos covering the rest of his salary. But now, as Wilson becomes an unrestricted free agent again, his market value could be between $35 million and $40 million per year, which will make things more interesting. At the very least, I think a Russell Wilson contract would be around $30 million per year for 2 years, but given the current market, it's possible he could get even more. It's hard to say exactly how big his market will be. Right now, it looks like the Raiders and possibly the Pittsburgh Steelers will be the main teams interested in him. I don't see many other teams making a strong push for him at this point in his career. Wilson will be 36 soon, so his best years are behind him. But as I mentioned in yesterday's video, he's still shown that he can be a solid, reliable starting quarterback in the NFL. Last season, he only played 11 games with the Steelers, throwing 16 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. The year before, with the Denver Broncos, where coach Sean Payton didn't seem to have much confidence in him, Wilson passed for around 3,500 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. These numbers show that Wilson can still be productive and, at the very least, provide stability at the quarterback position. With Pete Carroll now leading the Raiders on a 3-year contract, I think the team understands that Carroll is getting older. They want to see how he can turn the team around in the next couple of years. By year 2, he'll need to show that the Raiders can seriously compete in the AFC. Of course, it's still early in the offseason, and things can change quickly, but I wouldn't be surprised if Carroll could improve this team from the 4-win season we had last year to a 7-8 win team fighting for a playoff spot. To make that happen, though, the Raiders need a reliable quarterback. We can't go into another season with the kind of situation we had last year, where we saw multiple quarterbacks, like Garber Moo, Aiden O'Connell, start because of injuries. That's not what we need. And with Pete Carroll in charge, we're still unsure what he thinks of Aiden O'Connell. I think any coach coming to the Raiders wouldn't feel fully confident in Aiden O'Connell as the long-term solution at quarterback. They're unlikely to rely entirely on him, so I definitely see the Raiders looking for a veteran quarterback in free agency. At the very least, this veteran would serve as a bridge quarterback. With Pete Carroll now in charge, it makes sense that Russell Wilson's name is being linked to the team. Wilson seems interested in the idea as well. Another name to watch is Geno Smith. What will happen with him and the Seattle Seahawks? Will they consider trading him or even releasing him to save cap space? That's something to keep an eye on. Personally, I'm not sure how I feel about Russell Wilson joining the Raiders. As I mentioned, he would have to be a bridge quarterback. He might give the team a solid year or two, but only if the plan is to develop a young quarterback behind him. For this to work, the Raiders would need to draft a promising rookie quarterback who could learn and improve while sitting behind Wilson for a season or two. Looking ahead to the 2025 regular season, one of the biggest challenges for Pete Carroll and the Raiders' offense will be getting the running game on track. Another key question is, who will be the offensive coordinator? The good news for the Raiders is that this year's draft has a lot of talent in the interior offensive line and at the running back position. Plus, the team has plenty of cap space to spend in free agency. There's no reason the Raiders shouldn't bring in a young, hungry, and talented running back. By adding a couple of solid pieces to the interior offensive line, the team could build a reliable running game, which would be essential to the offense. A strong running game would help someone like Russell Wilson thrive in play-action plays. It'll also be interesting to see who Pete Carroll chooses as the offensive coordinator. Will he go with someone new, perhaps a younger coach with fresh ideas, or will he stick to someone familiar? There's a chance he might try to bring back Shane Waldron, who was Wilson's offensive coordinator during his last season in Seattle. Another option could be Darrell Bevell, who worked with Wilson in Seattle earlier in his career. However, Carroll did fire Bevell after the 2017 season, so it's unclear if that relationship would work again. The offensive coordinator decision will be a big factor in determining how successful this offense can be next season. As of now, though, it does seem like Russell Wilson joining the Raiders is a real possibility. Raider Nation, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Russell Wilson would be a good fit for the Silver and Black? Let me know in the comments below. That's all I have for you today. If you're new to the channel and enjoy Raiders-related content like this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.